Hey, welcome back everyone. It is now December 4th of 2021, and ever since the very end of the Skywalker saga and The Mandalorian Season 2, a lot of Star Wars fans around the world have truly been looking forward to the future of the Star Wars franchise by Jon Favreau, Dave Filoni, George Lucas, Bob Chapek, and other creators coming on board to handle other new Star Wars TV shows, of course, that have yet to be announced, that will be announced at Star Wars Celebration next year, so keep your eyes open for that. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel for future Star Wars updates. Also, by the way, guys, I am on Twitter at Mike01 if you guys want to go ahead and give me a follow on there. I do post a couple of fun and entertaining things on there from time to time and interact with you guys further. So we're now in a very interesting phase for the franchise. We're getting very close to the Book of Boba Fett's release on December 29th, so that's going to stretch all the way until early 2022. Before we get the Kenobi TV series, Mando Season 3, The Bad Batch, and even, yes, Star Wars Andor. So 2022 is, without a doubt, the busiest year of Star Wars for Lucasfilm and Disney, and especially for the fans. So now, with that being said, of course, we already know that a lot of work is already being done on shows like the Ahsoka Tano series, as well as other TV shows such as the Darth Maul animated TV show, in case you guys did not know. That's going to focus more on Crimson Dawn and answering more questions that were left unanswered in Solo: A Star Wars Story, so that should be a great fill-in for Disney+. So, looking ahead here, one thing about Jon Favreau is that he's been a little bit more outspoken about what's been going on with the mandoverse and everything related to George Lucas and how Lucasfilm operates or operated as a company in the past as well, and how he just seems to be a little bit more truthful lately about exactly how The Mandalorian came out to be and exactly what kind of hurdles he had to really go through to really get things done. So with that being said, of course, with both Disney and Lucasfilm now focused on their new Star Wars projects, such as new TV shows and films that will also be announced at Star Wars Celebration, it's described that currently Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni are making drastic changes behind the scenes in order to evolve the Star Wars brand beyond anybody's expectations. However, in a recent interview with Jon Favreau about the Mandoverse and beyond, the new Star Wars series that he is currently developing, Favreau went on to reveal something substantial about George Lucas. Favreau went on to state that one thing I can say is that what I never really understood was how in the beginning, when we were putting together the Mandalorian series for Disney+, myself and Kathleen Kennedy, as well as other creators over at Lucasfilm, were discussing of how we could involve George Lucas. What I will say is that they never really wanted to use Lucas's vision for The Mandalorian, period, and that they wanted to strictly stay away from George Lucas for both Season 1 and Season 2. It was actually quite heartbreaking to see how the company was distancing themselves so far away from Lucas. I kept pushing for Lucas's involvement in the series, and I will admit it took a lot of convincing, not just Miss Kennedy, but also those at Disney that were really trying to play it safe in the beginning. Another thing that was always on my mind was, of course, that when we were discussing the Ahsoka Tano series in the very beginning, myself and Dave were pushing for many of George's ideas for the series to become a reality. At the time, Bob Iger kept telling us that using George Lucas's concepts would be disastrous and could very well harm the brand moving forward and what we are trying to achieve. There were many times in which they are actually even had a plan to actually scrap the Ahsoka Tano series because of how Lucas came up with the idea for this character and handed the story down to Filoni. They were afraid that this character alone would create a risk of creating disinterest in the Star Wars brand. Favreau goes on to reveal that I can vividly remember that when working on The Mandalorian Season 2, Lucas was the one who kept pushing us for Luke Skywalker to have an action scene. You see, originally Disney didn't want us to do that. What they wanted was, of course, for Luke to just step in, pull back his hood, and walk out the door with Grogu. During, of course, our meetings of planning the entire approach to the Star Wars universe, they really didn't want Lucas involved with anything. They were very well afraid of all of this. They just kept pushing and pushing to prevent Lucas from coming on board of our shows like Mandalorian, or Ahsoka at that, or even the Kenobi TV series for that matter. Thankfully, after endless convincing, myself and Dave brought things on the right path for the franchise without a doubt. We are very excited to reveal to the fans of what's in store for the new Star Wars shows to be released and addressed in the coming months, and how we are going to be bringing back tons of Star Wars legends for the fans to enjoy. So here's the thing about this, alright? This is something that I think a lot of fans absolutely need to know, is the fact that when we go ahead and examine the mandoverse at heart, alright, we already know that Jon Favreau is very, very clear and has been very clear about this, that the mandoverse is just the foundation of the universe. The mandoverse is not the entirety of the Star Wars universe, so that's going to stretch into other TV shows and new eras from, of course, that take place in the past or the future, whatever it may be. But this in particular, right, this in particular is something quite exciting, because when you look at how Jon and Dave, they were very persistent. They were on their A game. They kept on pushing Disney to go through with all of this. And this just proves that Disney wanted nothing to do with George Lucas throughout the entire development of this new universe. And you can even see some of that taking place a little bit here and there right now. Kathleen Kennedy pretty much gave George Lucas the boot for the Acolyte TV show. In case you guys did not know, George Lucas had some form of major involvement on the Acolyte series to kind of regulate things and to keep some of the lore intact. She prevented George Lucas from even doing that. So it just goes to show you that there are those at Lucasfilm that are just as persistent as Jon and Dave, except in an opposite way. They want nothing to do with George, they want nothing to do with his vision or his philosophy of Star Wars, and they want to really create these negative retcons. That's what Leslye Headland is doing, and she said this before, that there's going to be a lot of changes to the prequel trilogy with the Acolyte TV show. Now, am I too concerned about this? Not really. Because George, Jon, and Dave, they can easily turn around and retcon their retcon if they really want to do something crazy like that. But overall, when we go ahead and examine everything related to what Jon Favreau has been saying over the past couple of weeks now, things are really looking up for the franchise, because for this one reason. Now that we have George Lucas truly dedicating his life to the Ahsoka Tano show with George and Jon by his side, and working on many of the animated TV shows and really setting things straight, making sure that Star Wars can live on and survive and become this great thing, right? I think that obviously when you go ahead and examine everything that has been happening between, Disney and Lucasfilm and Kathleen Kennedy at heart, I gotta say, I mean, when you look at Jon and Dave, these are the guys that really put everything together. These are the guys that really made sure that Star Wars can thrive and survive, and it's going to, because next year, biggest year yet, at least for Star Wars under Disney's wing, it's going to be a very important year as well as at that. You got to make sure that these shows are going to be successful consistently. That means the Book of Boba's got to be successful, Kenobi, Bad Batch 2, Andor, and Mando Season 3. That's a total of 5 episodes for 2022. Technically, Book of Boba is this year's, but it's pretty much, getting its first episode just a couple of days before the year's end. So, like I say, guys, I mean, I think that what Jon Favreau also revealed here is that we have seen this great example of being persistent, knowing what you have to do, and pushing the higher-ups to do something. It takes a lot of time and effort, and it took them a lot of time and effort to do that. And we got to give Jon and Dave a lot of credit for allowing George Lucas's vision to really becoming a part of this universe. That's exactly why you're getting all these amazing TV shows. So, overall, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know about all this in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.